afternoon. I'm Katie Patterson-Ingalls with the Kansas Water Office. I'm the Communications Director, and I am glad to be here. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm glad to be here representing the Kansas Water Office on an update about our water technology farms. I have been with the office for 11 years, and I'm very fortunate. While I am the Communications Director, I've been able to have a really unique role when it comes to the water technology farms. It started with me being part of the governor's water vision team when Governor Brownback was in office, and him being Secretary of Ag in the 80s, he knew that he wanted to address the declining aquifer issues that he had seen. And so when he came back as a governor, he called for a water vision team to be and water visioning throughout the state. And so part of that became one thing that came out of it was the water technology farms. Our former director, Tracy Streeter, many of you are familiar with him, and our assistant director, Earl Lewis. This was one of the bigger things that we did to have an impact in Western Kansas for sure, in addition to working on different policies with Department of Ag as well. The water technology farms are 3-year public-private partnerships. So often we heard around the state when we would travel and getting public input is that when we would talk about water conservation, well, that's really great, but that's not going to work on my farm. And so Tracy said, let's try these demonstration farms. We had a couple of farmers who were open to doing this and had actually approached him. And so he had talked with some private companies and was able to have that partnership take place. And now we have over 100 different private entities who are working with our producers. And I'm going to share my screen here with you to see where a lot of them are located on our website, kwo.ks.gov. You can find our tech farm page. And this is where COVID has taken a little toll on us being out and being active, but we are ready to be back in gear, starting with our Winter Water Technology Farm Expo that's going to be taking place February 3rd in Garden City. So we're looking forward to that. We started out with 3 farms in 2016, and we have grown. There are many of them have actually renewed their contracts as well. And what this does is truly show that these tools can work on their farm. And even not only to be able to say that they were able to conserve, not with just one tool. Like there are many management tools, and that's what some of the our producers will say. Just because if I'm going to use a soil moisture probe and I'm going to look at different nozzle packages and then some management tools when it comes to whether I have a LEMA, a local enhanced management area, or a water conservation area, which those give priority to someone who wants to become a water technology farm. When you marry all of those tools together, you're going to find that maybe only one of them allowed 5% to be saved, and maybe 5% here, 5% there. But when you do 3 or 4 different tools that are taking place, you're going to find pretty soon you're saving 20%. You might be saving, like some of them are easily saving 40% of what they normally did. It's a different mindset. It's being willing to try different things. Okay, so I think it's really important to hear from the producers, and I am sorry that again that I'm not able to be there personally, and I wanted to be able to bring one of the producers as well, but I feel sorry for them. I'm usually calling on them to say, hey, can you share a testimony here, can you talk to this reporter, so on and so forth. I'm so proud of them. It is not easy being a leader, and they are proving over and over that this can happen, but it is a mindset shift as well. It for sure is. And we have field days, and then we've gone into this tech expo. But I think more than anything, it's just being willing to be open to try something different. And the technology isn't hard. As Zion Roth will tell you, and he'll get out his phone and like he showed some of our legislators. We had a legislative committee that came out and we hosted them, and he was showing them like, this is what I do on my phone. And it really is simple. You don't have to be a rocket science to figure this out, but you have to be willing to learn and work with the vendors and see what works best on your farm. And they always say, all of them have said, just be willing to try something. I remember Zion's uncle, Dwayne Roth, he had told Tracy when he first started that 5 years ago, before the tech farms, he had heard about these soil moisture probes, and he went to some meeting on them, and he told them, well, you can take those and shove them where the sun doesn't shine. And we laugh because if you know Dwayne, that's what he's going to say. But then 5 years later, it's all about the soil moisture probes and them truly trusting it. And one of my most favorite stories that they have is that there was their farm, the tech farm, and not even a half a mile down the road was their cousins. Okay. And so they were, who is not a tech farm. And so they're implementing the different tools. And at the end of the year, when the harvest data came out, he was using like 6.5 inches of water compared to 13, and he grew 10 more bushels versus his cousin down the road. That's huge. So to use half the water and to grow 10 more bushel, and what you're going to find from a lot of these producers that they are finding that their input costs are less. They with the different tools, they are also having a lot less expense when it comes to fertilizers too. And I've heard some of them say that they've seen about 30% reduction in that as well. So to be conserving water and saving that, right? To be able to grow and yield just as much. It's about your bottom line. It's not all about how much you're yielding, but to be able to yield just as well, and then to make an overall better profit, that's a win, and they are proving that over and over. So I want to share with you a true testimony from Ken McCarty. This was our first dairy that came on, and he's been a part of this program now for over 2 years, and it speaks volumes. So here we go.
My name is Ken McCarty, representing the McCarty Dairy Water Technology Farm here in Rexford, Kansas, located in Northwest Kansas and Thomas County. This is our first year as a Kansas water technology farm, and we're very interested in joining this program because water conservation is important to us from a personal value point of view. But we view it's just simply the right thing to do to be good stewards of the land that sustains us. The goals are, first and foremost, conserve water in an economical way and do it in a way that we expose ourselves to less risk. Our goals for our first year of technology adoption are some smart cow cooling technology, some weather sensing technologies on irrigation systems spread across our farms, and also better pattern nozzles on a variety of different fields as well. As part of our water technology farm, we've made the decision to just include all of the irrigated acres that are encompassed in our farm, as well as the dairy farm and the milk processing plant. So when we first moved to Western Kansas, our sole focus was on dairy farming. As we needed to control our destiny a bit more than what we were, we expanded into a farming operation as well. Today, McCarty Family Farms owns and operates approximately 4,000 acres of crop ground in Northwest Kansas, a large chunk of which is irrigated. In order for us to sustain the livelihoods of these girls that sustain us, we have to sustain the natural resources that provide for our crops, namely water conservation, soil health, carbon sequestration, all of those things tied full circle into a healthy feed ration that produces healthy cows and a high quality milk product. So one of the primary objectives of the water technology farm that we've implemented here at McCarty Family Farms has been to optimize not only the water that we utilize to irrigate our crops, but also the water that we use to ensure cow comfort and highly productive animals, as well as the water use that happens in our milk processing plant. Our goal is to reduce water consumption across that entire ecosystem. If I can create another gallon of milk from this cow through improved management or through the use of smart cow cooling sensors or optimized cow cooling techniques, that thereby lowers my overall water footprint, optimizing the use of water on my overall farm. Part of the reason why becoming a water technology farm and part of the reason why water conservation and sustainability in general is important to us is the goal being that we create something that is viable for the next generation, that sustains me and my parents and my brothers and the teammates that I go to work with every day, for the time being, but that also sustains the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. Ultimately, that just sustains the communities and the people that sustain us. I think conservation is important not only because it's an economic imperative to utilize resources efficiently and cost effectively. We've got 200 team members and their families and our own families that depend on our business to be sustainable, to be viable for tomorrow and next month and next year and a decade from now. And we have to be good stewards of this to be good stewards of that.
It does not matter, you guys, how many times I watch that. It gets me every single time. And those are the stories. There's all of them. So if you come down on our webpage, you're going to see the list of all the farms, and they have their videos and testimonies there too. So we also have, real quick, a water technology farm report that will tell you how much water they used and how much they grew. So that is also on our water office page. I am sorry that I can't be there. However, I'm excited for you to get to hear from Amy Crimmen, a dear friend of mine from CSU. We have worked together not only with the water technology farms, but the Ogallala Summit that we help co-host with them in 2018, and then also again this last year. So if you ever have questions about the water technology farms, you can contact me, Matt Unner in our office, who's our assistant director, or Connie Owen, who is our current water office director. And I want to end on a quote. I'm going to let you know that Amy is there to answer some questions, to give a little bit bigger view about policy and what we've seen putting on the Ogallala Summit. But I want to share a quote with you from Matt Long, who's one of our water technology farms and a great advocate who's proving over and over that he can do this, that anyone can really do this with some of the putting the different tools in your hands. Our goal in water conservation is to be able to raise our families, grow crops, and support livestock for generations to come. How we do that is the only factor that differs from what has been done in generations past. And I know that Amy's going to talk about the social side of that a little bit too. It is a different mindset to be willing to try something new and different and being a leader. But it does pay off in the end, and we are so proud of that. So thanks for allowing us to be a part of this, Pete. And I hope to get to see you all in person.